Hi friends, welcome to Cello IELTS. This is Aksa Abraham and today we are going to talk about 5 things you should know about IELTS, okay? But these are things that we actually went through in the previous video, so this is just a brush up. But for anyone who is watching our video for the first time, this would be not new information really, but information that you should know about IELTS, okay? So the first one is IELTS. First one about IELTS is that it's not actually a word. Okay, doesn't make any meaning on itself. It has an abbreviation. The full form would be International English Language Testing System. If the examiner asks you, do you know the full form to IELTS? You should say International English Language Testing System. Okay, and another thing is that IELTS is an international test. Okay, so it has an international level to it. If you think that IELTS is just a test that I can crack. If I just do a bit of study or a bit of practice, no, it's of an international level. You will have to work on it. It depends on your language proficiency. So if you're really proficient in English, then you could crack your score with a lot of practice. But if you're someone who is not very proficient in English, then you might have to really work on it in order to crack this test, just because it has an international standard. Okay, so it's an international test on English and communication. Okay, so there are 2 things that matters: English and communication. Okay, so it is just testing your English so that you communicate well when you're in a different country where English is spoken as their first language. Okay, there's no other option than to check if you are very proficient in English or if you can communicate in English, because otherwise you will not survive that country. Okay, another thing is that another thing is about who attends this test. Should anybody attend this test, or is there a category for the people who should be attending IELTS? Okay, so there are people from non-English speaking countries. So I'm from India, so that means I am from a non-English speaking country. So when I say non-English speaking country, doesn't mean that we don't speak English at all. It's just that English is not our first language or second language. Okay, so we are from a non-English speaking country, but we would like to migrate for work purpose or for study purpose or just immigration. Okay, in that case, if we are supposed to move to an English speaking country, say I'm going to move to Dubai, I don't really have to write IELTS. Okay, but then if you are moving to an English speaking country like Canada or UK or Australia or New Zealand, then I have to attend IELTS. Okay, now there are 2 types of IELTS. That's academic IELTS and general IELTS. I've told you about this already, but for anyone who hasn't watched this video before, or watched our videos before, or someone who is totally new to IELTS, we have general IELTS and academic IELTS. So general IELTS is basically general training test. It's for people who are looking to move abroad for their studies or for their work purpose or immigration. And academic would be those who are looking for studies in foreign countries where English is a native language. Okay, and there are 4 modules in IELTS. We have listening, reading, writing and speaking. We might already know this, but let me give you new information. So recently IDP had changed the pattern in which the exam happens. Okay, earlier it was listening, reading, writing, when it was the test date for listening, reading and writing. But now that pattern has changed, and when you take a test date and you go sit for the test, the first exam that you will attend would be the first module that you would attend would be writing, and then listening, and then reading. So the reading and writing just got interchanged, but I think that's a good change, because then you will be able to finish the writing part first. I think that's the most difficult one if you keep it towards the end. Okay, so this was a bit of information, just to brush up on all the topics that we just went through. So just to keep in mind point wise, I just had this video in mind. Okay, so we'll see what are the next 5 things that we should be knowing about IELTS in the next video. And once we are done with the introduction part like this, once we are thorough with all the things that we have to know about IELTS, we'll move into the modules part. Okay, so that's all for today's video. And if you're someone who's seriously thinking about clearing IELTS and is looking for a proper guide, then we have a course where we can teach you IELTS. We can guide you with one-to-one classes, video classes every day, and with mock tests, evaluations, etc. We have different sets of courses. We have a full-fledged main course. We have a capsule version of crash course. We have a single module course where you can actually go for a single module or a combination of modules. And we also have a mock test course for someone who is just trying to, see where they stand with IELTS. Okay. So if you would like to join, we have a link provided in the description. You could just click on that link and we'll contact you shortly. So that's all for today's video. This is Aksa Abraham signing off from Cello IELTS. Thank you.